Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Triple Double Nation. Today we'll be covering possible trade options for Bradley Beal. Let's get into the video. Bradley Beal is not available for trade. That was the case before the Washington Wizards' remarkable win over the Brooklyn Nets on Sunday night, and it continues to be the story surrounding their franchise. All parties, from the top decision makers in the Wizards front office to members of Beal's representation, insist this marriage between the superstar and organization is alive and well. It doesn't seem like it's a bluff to drive up the price, says one longtime executive. They don't want to trade him. Beal has forever been loyal to the lone team of his 9-year NBA career. The Wizards have likewise remained nothing but committed to building a playoff caliber roster around the league's leading scorer. It's why they traded beloved point guard John Wall in their 2023 lottery protected first round pick for Russell Westbrook in early December. The finally near full-strength Wizards just proved that they can beat Eastern Conference frontrunners like the Nets, and while they sit just 6-16, only 4 games now separate them from the 10-16 Cleveland Cavaliers, who currently have the 12th best record in the conference. The Wizards, though, are still far short of a true championship contender, and in an NBA that feels like more and more like an arms race rather than an on-court competition, rivals are circling this situation closely. For each rousing Wizards win, there will be more losses and more screenshots of a frustrated Beal hanging his head on the bench, rippling across the internet. With a 27-year-old Beal able to test free agency after the 2021 and 2022 season, opposing frontline offices are anticipating some inevitable inflection point when either the game's best shooting guard and or his incumbent franchise ultimately agree that it's best for a change. If James Harden's trade request was just the most recent spin of the league's superstar carousel, Beal is the game-changing talent many expected next turn front and center. There's not a realistic possibility of them being a good team under his contract, says a longtime decision-maker. That pivotal moment isn't likely to occur before the end of the 2020 and 2021 campaign. There's a sentiment around the league that no matter their record, the Wizards ownership group would not approve any transaction that would send Beal away from Washington until this offseason at the earliest. Teams say it all the time, but you feel like it's real, says one assistant general manager. Could that change? Multiple Wizards personnel and one league source with knowledge of Beal's thinking told BR a single offbeat can alter the entire rhythm of a franchise. I think a lot of it comes down to who will budge first, Brad or ownership, says one Eastern Conference scout. If Beal ever has a change of heart and tells Wizards management that he'd wish to play elsewhere, there's already a somewhat established market for what would assuredly net a Washington a lucrative return. The New Orleans Pelicans' interest in Beal remains one of the biggest open secrets around the league, and it seems their massive haul for Drew Holiday would be the Wizards' required starting point in any negotiations. With a trove of future draft capital, veteran contracts, and 5 recent first-round picks under the age of 25, New Orleans has the flexibility to offer Washington a package that rivals what Brooklyn paid to acquire Harden, and still surround Beal with a winning combination around him. The Nuggets have been as linked to Beal as the Pelicans, and they could offer Washington the only blockbuster trade ingredient it appears New Orleans cannot, a bona fide blue chip prospect in Michael Porter Jr., yet that is where any semblance of certainty stops in this hypothetical. Brooklyn is no longer a viable candidate for Beal after splurging to obtain Harden. The Philadelphia 76ers could return to the table with Ben Simmons, as they ultimately did in their Harden discussions, yet many around the league believe Washington would require an additional bounty of draft capital that Philadelphia appeared unwilling to include in its Harden overtures. The number of teams that could potentially get Washington's interest here would be small, says one capologist. The teams that typically go big game hunting, Miami, Toronto, Dallas, don't appear to have enough flexibility to provide Washington with ample compensation. But there are some wildcard suitors to keep an eye on. If Beal were to become available this season, Atlanta could be a surprising landing spot. The 11-13 Hawks are as playoff focused as the Wizards, and before Atlanta scooped Onyeka Okongwu with the number 6 pick in the draft, Washington had hoped the USC big man would still be available at its own pick at number 9. According to league sources, the Hawks also widely signaled that 2018 first-round pick Kevin Huerter was available via trade prior to draft night. Atlanta would need to include Tony Snell and one other small contract to match Beal's salary. Adding John Collins would make the money work, and if the Wizards are willing to sign him to the max-level contract sources say he desires in this upcoming restricted free agency, Atlanta holds all of its first-rounders plus the Oklahoma City Thunder's lottery-protected 2022 first-round pick. The New York Knicks have $17 million in cap room and a number of expiring contracts, several recent first-round selections on their roster, and a cupboard full of future draft picks at their disposal. The Knicks never had much interest in Westbrook this offseason, league sources say, but adding Beal may be worth the risk. The Knicks would finally have an unquestioned All-NBA talent on their roster, still several years shy of turning 30, with a clean cap sheet of their own to add another co-star. The Knicks could offer Washington a degree of salary relief that would have to be intriguing to Wizards brass. No matter what post-Beal future would come in DC, Washington will likely be hamstrung over the remaining 2 years and $18+ million on Westbrook's deal. For now, all that still remains theoretical. We repeat, Bradley Beal is not available via trade. He will continue to hang 30 on opponents left and right, even if he doesn't register a field goal attempt until the second quarter like he did against Brooklyn. Maybe the Wizards can pile a few more inspiring wins like that thriller against the Nets. It wasn't something I needed to see per se, but I feel like our effort and the way we played was great, Beal told reporters post-game. It wasn't just one guy who won us the game or two guys, it was a collective effort from everybody. Just like the communal effort currently keeping the All-Star in Washington. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Catch you next time. Goodbye.